What up, world? Welcome to another episode of RMT, That's Real Man Talk. It's your boy, Stan the Man, coming to you with another great conversation piece on today. And before we get started, I want to thank you for joining me here on RMT. So go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button so this can get out to someone that you think it'll help. All right? So let's get into it today. Today we're going to talk about being a parent or friend. Which one you want to be in raising your children, a parent or a friend? The beauty of being a parent, you really can't put it into words to explain how beneficial, how beautiful it is. The pain, the sacrifice, the dichotomy that comes along with being a parent. You can't explain it unless you have children or you are raising children, even if they're not yours. All those things go along with being a parent, but so often now we are opting to be their friend than be their parent. Let's get into it. Okay, so what is being a parent? What is being a good parent, right? Parent, it goes far beyond just providing, protecting, guiding, and correcting. And I got right here in my notes Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way they should go, that when they are old, they do not depart. When you hire a personal trainer, they are setting up a personalized plan for you to be successful. That's what they training for. So is it for you to grow muscle? If it's for you to lose weight? If it's for you to train for 5K? Or if it's for you to train for basketball or baseball? Anything that you're going into, that's why you hire the personal trainer. Then when they go through the training program, it's to get you prepared for what's to come. And us as parents, we forget about the training part. We want to be to friendship, the partnership, the loving, the caring. But what comes along with training is discipline. What comes along is training is focus. What comes along is training is sometimes some hard truth and hard conversations that you gotta have to make sure that this person is getting to their goals that you hired them for. And so as parents, sometimes we lose focus in doing that, the training part, and we want to be friends. And so you have people, we are basically raising up the next generation of adults. We're raising up the next generation of adults. And shout out to my pops, Stanley Nash Sr., the best father in the world to me, you know. And my pops was the type he talked a little bit. He didn't talk a whole lot, but I remember I remember when I used to have to do work. My friends used to come over like, hey, I want to shoot ball. Can he go play? And my pops like, nah, he got to work. So he had me out there working. He had me out there changing oil, rotating tires, cutting the yard, just miscellaneous work around the house. He always had me working and I always had me doing things. And at the time, I was like, man, I don't like to do this and making sure I had my room clean, making sure that I ironed my clothes. I always was presentable. I took care of myself. He was teaching me all those things about discipline, keeping your house clean, doing all the things that you're supposed to do as an adult, from paying your car insurance to making sure of me how to pay bills, teaching me about my credit score, teaching me about saving money. And so teaching me all those things, and I sometimes like, man, he get on my nerves. He got me doing this, got me doing that. We doing all these different things. But now that I'm an adult, I appreciate it. And as I got older, we became friends. But my father was a true father, and he showed me what to do. So a lot of the pitfalls and the things that I went into, it was nothing that he didn't teach me. It was my own. It was me going down my own path causing that. And see, I think that nowadays we try to be too friendly to the children that we are raising up now. You know, they got an old saying said, I don't want my kids to come up like I came up. But look at the product that it produced. Hard working, you got ethics, you got morals, you got discipline. But you don't want to put that into your child. You want to give them, and they don't ever earn any of the things that you're giving to them. Now, let me be honest and be transparent here for a moment. Have I always did that to my children? No. Sometimes I have gave to my children without them doing anything for it. But at the same time, I make sure that it's a balance there. You know, try to make sure it's a balance there. And see, the parents nowadays, they want to be light. They don't want to draw the line. See, some of them didn't even grow up yet. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But a lot of the parents want to be liked by the friends that come around. They want to be liked by the other parents. They want to be the cool parent. You know, the parent that you can go over their house, you can drink, you can smoke, you can bring girls over there, y'all can party. Yeah, because my parent is cool like that. They don't want to be known, oh, well, my mom won't let me do that. My parents won't let me do that. They won't let us do it. They don't want to be known for that parent that brings about discipline and structure. They don't want to do that. They don't want to have rules to make sure that this child is being guided in a certain way, because I want to be the cool parent. And you can look around now. You got a lot of what they call YNs or whatever that's going around, and they're acting a certain type of way and displaying a certain type of behavior that we deem, oh man, this bad. But where did it come from? See, these children didn't just pop up and just be like that. It's a behavior that needs to be taught, or it's a behavior that they're around. And since they're around that behavior, they adapted and they start to act like their environment that they was around. Not necessarily that you didn't do your job as a parent, because a child have to make their decisions once they leave your house, or they just up and leave. But why let them do what they want to do and you pay all the bills? You putting food in their mouth, you putting clothes on their back, you putting a roof over their head. Then you let them go and come as they please, make decisions like they want to, or do whatever they want to do. Is it the fact that you wasn't ready to be a parent? You didn't want to be a parent? And it's easier for you to be their friend than to actually put some structure in your life, because you are not displaying that. You're not displaying the discipline. You're not practicing what you preach. So since you're not practicing what you preach, how can you possibly tell this child you don't need to do this? Stop smoking weed, and you smoking weed with them. You going half on the sack with them. You calling or texting the weed man with them. You getting weed from them. But you study asking them not to smoke weed. But you smoking weed with them. You telling them not to drink, but you drinking all the time. You drinking with their friends. You having fun with their friends. Your house is the kicking spot. You where they go have the kickbacks at. That's where they go hang out at, is your house. And then you want to say, don't do this. How can you say not to do certain things when you are displaying the exact behavior that you don't want them to do? How can you say that? A lot of y'all are having different men, different women to come in and out the household. How you gonna tell your daughter not to talk to multiple men, not to do this, when all she see is different men coming in and out the house? How you gonna tell your son, man, don't mess with all these women, when he see you with a different woman all the time? So sometimes we as parents gotta make sure that we are displaying the behavior that we want our child to display as well. We got to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do so our children can have a proper example on what they see, not what they hear, but both. And don't sit back and have this big rant about what your child should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, and you have created an environment that makes their behavior feel like, well, you have created an environment that behavior that they're displaying can thrive. Because you want to be cool. You want them to be cool. You want them to fit in with society so much that whatever you see on social media, you want them to act that way. You want to carve out your son to be like the housewives. You want your son to mimic some of the men on there, or to mimic the men on the videos, or mimic the guys on social media. You want your daughter to mimic the Real Housewives or the Baddies or whatever the show's going on now. You want them to mimic that behavior of being ratchet, fighting all the time, cussing, acting like a man. Yes, I said it, acting like a man. You want them to display that behavior. You display that behavior, but you want them to act different. Some parents even encourage their children to act this way. Yeah, you see the parents going to the fights. They going to the fight to fight the other people. The parents jumping in there too. Oh, come on, let's go, let's go. They letting the child use profanity in front of them. Y'all let the children use profanity, joking around and playing, let them curse and do all that. Well, they gonna smoke weed, I'd rather they do it around me, and they gonna do this. But since you don't want to grow up, since you don't want to have no principles, no morals, since you didn't have the childhood that you wanted, now you want to take over their childhood so you can have a second childhood and ruin them because they never had a parent. They always had a friend. They never had a parent. And as they get older, they regret not having a parent and you not being a parent that you need to be. Now you upset because the product that you put out is coming back and letting you know what you did wrong, how you did me wrong. All these emotional things, all these emotional barriers now that I got to tear down because I'm not going to be right for somebody else. All this fixing I got to do it myself, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I got to do all this fixing because of you, what you did to me, how you made me feel. Now I'm breaking all this down because you wasn't being the parent you need to be. You just want to be my friend. Now, since you being friends with them so much, you being friends with them all the time, now you are getting upset because they don't respect your authority. They don't respect what you say. When you try to discipline, they like, oh, no, you didn't. That's like a portrayal thing. Like, we cool. You go out to the school and they cussing, they acting a fool, and you like, don't be doing that. They looking at you like, I do this at the house all the time. They come to the school, they high. Oh, I get high all the time with her. How you gonna say something to me and not do this at the house too? Y'all try to get upset, go out to the school, be mad at the kids, be mad at the teacher, said the teacher's not teaching, the teacher's not doing this. The teachers are not supposed to do everything for your child. Some things as a parent, you need to teach your child. Yeah, they going to school to learn, but part of training your child is teaching them about the world, teaching them about different things going on in the world, about world history, going over their homework with them. Yes, being inside of their world. Learning your child is part of being a parent. See, some of us don't want to take out, we're too busy living our lives and don't want to take out part to study your child and learn your child to make sure that you're raising them up the right way. So now the discipline, they don't respect you because they don't know where the boundaries at. All the boundaries, all the lines have been drawn. They don't know where no boundaries at. We cool now. I'm looking at you as an equal, but you pay all the bills. Ain't that crazy? They are looking at you as an equal. You pay all the bills. Make sure they got something to eat. Make sure they got a roof over their head. And they looking at you as equal. And they don't pay no bills. They still expect you to pay for their shoes, buy them Jordans, or whatever the case might be. They still want you to provide for them. But I want to do what I want to do while you provide for me. That don't make no sense. I want you to do what I want you to do and provide for me, but I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want to hear your mouth about it. That's what you need to set up. That's what a lot of the children are going through now that's out here in this world. They didn't have real parents. A lot of them had friends. Now they suffering grown consequences off their decision. See, they don't tell you that when you going out here with your friends, you hanging out, and there's a gun in the car, and there's a body on that gun, and they get pulled over, and people go to jail and don't nobody say nothing, and all y'all getting time. They'll tell you about, they want to make like prison is fun. I see, they have little TikToks, they have little videos that circulating on social media, like prison is so fun. It's not. It's not. Not when you got to be in there 20, 30 years and you're only around men. You're only around women. That's it. The men only going to be around men and the women only going to be around women. That's it for the next 20, 30 years. So you go out there, you be tough, you catch your body, and you gone. Your friends going on with the rest of their life. They ain't thinking about you. They probably write you for a little bit, but after that, they gone. Your parents might be there for you. They just might. You never know. And let me say this too. Some of the parents haven't matured to the point where they are mentally, spiritually, or emotionally able to raise a child. They are still dealing with the trauma from their parents, what they did to them. They still suffering from that. They still got things that they need to work through. They didn't work through it, but since they was grown and they was able to have sex and produce a child, now the consequences, the trauma that they didn't deal with, they got to deal with that while trying to be a parent. Some of them don't want to deal with that. Some of them had bad parents. So they didn't know how to be parents. And now that they have children, they don't want to make the sacrifice to be a good parent. Then they wasn't shown how to be a good parent. They might just be mimicking what their parents was doing. And that started to go through generation to generation because nobody stopped and said, you know what? Let me grow up and make sure that I raise these children right. Let me grow up to make sure that I raise these children right. Let me do right by these children. My parents didn't do right by me. My parents did me wrong. Now, is that an excuse? No. And I understand where you come from, but at a certain age, that's no longer an excuse. Like, you gonna have to make sure that your children that you have, you do right by them, even though your parents did you wrong. That's just the honesty behind it. Because your child is going to have a tough time if you don't be the parent that you need to be. And I'm going to say this too. And I'm going to go on to something else. But don't expect to have a picture perfect child if you then supply them with a proper childhood, a proper raising for them to be like that. Some of y'all, let's be honest, some of y'all take credit for a child that fought through you being immature, you not being a good parent, and you not doing what you have to do, but that child was able to prevail from that situation, become a great individual, and you want to take credit for it. You had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Well, you probably did. They probably didn't, the stuff that they endured in their childhood, they probably didn't want their children to go through it, and they was willing to make the sacrifice to change. See, when you growing up and you taking a path that ain't nobody else taking, and your whole family might be drinking, smoking, kicking, and you want to do something different, it's gonna be tough because everybody, especially in the black community, in our community, that it's not cool to read, it's not cool to study, it's not cool to speak proper English, not to use a lot of slang. It's not cool for that. It's not cool for you not to be in the latest trends and doing this and doing that. It's not cool. And so you take and you step out on faith and you start to do something opposite of what everybody else doing, you're going to be the true definition of what they call an oddball. They're going to call you lame. But you're going to set your family up. You're going to set yourself up to be successful. Never think of you doing the right thing as being lame. Never think that you want to change your life and you be an oddball and everybody want to talk about you. Don't worry about that because later, you know what? They going to be calling you to borrow some money. They going to want to say, hey, that's my cousin. That's my niece. That's my son. Because once society has deemed you successful, especially if it's financial or, you go in sports or whatever the case might be. But once a black man is elevated and doing well and then society start to prop him up, all the family, I knew he was going to be like that. I knew he was going to do this. I knew he going to, all the lane stuff, all that start to wear down. Even though truly that's how they feel in their heart. But keep pushing. And let me tell you this, parents, even if you have messed up, it's never too late to patch it up while you're still alive. Am I going to say that it's going to be perfect? Am I going to say they're going to accept it? But it's not too late to patch it up. If you messed up your child's life or you know you didn't do right by your child and both of y'all are still alive, it's still time that you can patch it up. It's still time where you can go back. You ain't going to get those years back, but moving forward, you can be a better parent. You can be a better individual. You can mend that relationship instead of letting them fall by the wayside. People pass away. No forgiveness have been. Don't nobody forgive nobody. Ain't nobody mend any bridges or nothing like that. And y'all just let it go like that. That's tough. So let's be clear. It's still a balance in between the love and the discipline, right? It's a balance that needs to take place. Also, this scripture I want to read to you, Hebrews 12:6. And it says, for the Lord disciplines the ones he loves. That means love and correction goes hand in hand. See, we think that that's because you discipline that you don't supposed to love too. They go hand in hand. And so let me say this. Like the Lord, when you doing things, he study give you chances, right? So just say that you go out, you drinking and driving, and you might have an accident, and don't nothing happen to you, right? So he giving you another chance, but you done tore up your car, so you got to deal with your car or whatever injuries might be in your body. You got to deal with that, right? But at the same time, you still got your life. You still got another chance. Other ways he deal with us, he might give us a slap on the wrist. We might have done some things that we didn't need to do, and we didn't get in trouble like we should have got in trouble. But he let you pass. He let you pass. The time that you went and you probably got tested for a STD, and he let you slide and you didn't have none, or you went to there and you got tested and you were hoping that she didn't get pregnant, and he let you slide off the sin that you was doing. But you in the study got, you continue to slide through, but now it comes punishment with some things. Sometimes he have to discipline us because we don't learn from the slap on the wrist. And he doing it out of love. See, when we go and we take something from our children, or we might discipline them. You know, everybody got different ways that they discipline their child. But if you're not doing it out of, I love you so much that this is why I'm doing this, to protect you along the way. I mean, down the road. See, it's an old saying, you know, the old folks used to say, I'm only whooping you because I love you. I didn't understand that till I got older, but it's showing that I'm trying to do this to discourage you from doing wrong. This what happen when you do wrong. It's punishment comes along when you do wrong. Like the consequences at the house might not be severe until you get out there in the world. When you get out there in the world, the consequences come. You losing your life. You getting diseases. You going to jail for the rest of your life. You getting in a relationship, or you having children by somebody that's crazy. It's long-lasting consequences once you leave out the house. And you realize what my parents were trying to show me was trying to keep me from being mentally messed up for the rest of my life because of decisions that I made. So the love and the discipline go hand in hand. I discipline you because I love you and I want to see you do better. Because once you get out here in the world is not going to love you enough to show you love, to keep you disciplined from doing things that you shouldn't be doing. They're going to let you be undisciplined and let you suffer the consequences of all your decisions that you make. That's what they're going to do. And sometimes we got to think about this too. I know that some of us might not have had the best role model. I'm not letting your parents off the hook. I'm not letting your grandparents off the hook. I understand that, but are you using that to overcompensate you being a parent to your child? Giving them extra gifts, spoiling them, make sure that they don't go through nothing. Like me, I'm okay with my child going through something, long as I can kind of be around it to kind of work them through it, but I let them go through something so they can learn that through this life, I have to go through things and I have to work through things. I got to think about it. Now, if it's something, because they're teenagers, if it's something too tough, I have to step in and fix it. Okay, I understand that part. But certain things I have to teach them to learn how to work through certain things by themselves, because I'm not going to always be around them. I want to see how they're going to react to this situation first. Then when I see how how they're going to react to the situation, then I can be like, okay, I can step in and tweak this and tweak that. But sometimes as parents, we want to hold and coddle our kids so tight because we didn't have that. We didn't have that love. We didn't have those hugs. We didn't have those kisses. We didn't have nobody telling us how smart we are. You didn't have somebody telling you that you can do anything. You had them telling you how ugly you were, how you're not going to be anything. You're not smart. You're not going to grow up to do nothing. Maybe you was in a household like that. Maybe you had a father that worked all the time, didn't show you any attention. Maybe you had a mother that didn't hug you, didn't do the things she needed to do. And so now, with your child, you overprotecting them. You overprotecting them. You holding them so tight, and you keeping them away from the world. You keeping them away from mistakes that's going to teach them. You giving them everything. You provide. But at the same time, you're not letting them experience stuff. You're not letting them go out into this world and see and experience different things so they can be taught what to do in these situations. You don't do that. You want to hold them so tight and protect them from the world where one day you're going to be gone and they're going to have to face it anyway. They're going to have to face it anyway. Because some of our parents didn't get healed from what their parents did to them. Yeah, your mom and daddy might have had trauma that they didn't talk to you about. There might have been things that they went through that they didn't talk to you about. Or you knew that they went through and they weren't able to work or overcome that. And since they weren't in that certain department, they weren't able to give you what you needed. Now, with your child, you trying to overcompensate in that particular area. You're trying to overdo it in that particular area. You're trying to overdo it to make sure that your child don't feel the void that you feel, that you felt. You're trying to fill that void that your child won't feel what you felt. And now you spoiling them. And are you being a good parent? Somewhat, in a little bit, but it all got to do with balance. Even a person that's out there drinking, smoking, they might be on that side doing wrong, but emotionally, you are on this side doing wrong. And we're not going to be perfect. You're not going to always get it right. I'm not saying that. That's why you come and you apologize to your child sometimes. You apologize because you don't get it right. Sometimes you mess up. And yes, as parents, sometimes we need to get off our high horse and be willing to apologize to our child, put our ego to the side and apologize to them for certain things that we might have done or said. And see, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Like, what we have to do as parents is that our relationship is going to change. You know, right here, I got, the parents dynamic does evolve when your child gets older, right? And when your child gets older, when they're toddlers, we are the authority. When they're teens, we're a coach. And when they're adults, you become a trusted friend, but only because you laid the right foundation. And I think that's, I like my pops, the way that he did it. And all of those, just like he played those roles in each one. And one thing that I respected my father for is when he did mess up, he did come and apologize to me. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that he taught me as being a parent. That when he messed up or he said something like, if he said something that was wrong, not if it hurt my feelings, because sometimes stuff that hurt your feelings be right. But when he said something that he knew that was wrong, he'll come back and apologize. And that's something that I took into my parenting. But we got to make sure that we not being a friend too quick. We got to make sure that we not guiding our child towards we cool with them than them respecting us. We got to make sure that we doing that, and it's a balance in between the two. It's a respect thing that's falling in between the two. Because as they start to get teenagers, they want to test you and this and that. And you got to hold your ground. You have to hold your ground. You have to hold your ground. I got this right here. this another thing that and I got this scripture right here. Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in discipline and instructions of the Lord. So even in raising them, we got to make sure that we are not provoking your child. You know, we not bringing anger into the situation while we're raising our children. Okay, so on this last part, I want to talk about a couple of practical steps. Now, I'm not a professional. If you need to seek some professional help, please reach out to someone that can help you within whatever situation that you're in. But this right here is just a couple of practical things that I came up with. Number one, set clear boundaries. When you're dealing with your children, set the boundaries where it don't go this far. It stops right here. You know, to have that respect level, because sometimes you can start playing with your children too much. Sometimes you can get to the point where you let them get away with too much. And when I say get away with too much, it might be certain language that they use. They might want to stay up too late. They might want to be on their phone too much. They might, when you tell them to get off or tell them to do something, they might want to grunt or get an attitude. And some of those things you have to check at the door to make sure that it don't go further down the line. Because once you start letting everything go and go and go and it build up, you wait till it build up to say something and it explode. It's good to just nip it in the butt and set those boundaries from the beginning, from the gate. That way you have a foundation to build from. And then you as a parent has to be consistent with you setting those boundaries. You know, I got right here, don't be afraid to say no. Kids feel safest when structure exists. When you have boundaries, stuff in place to protect them. Also, the boundaries not only is good for you, but it also keeps your children safe when you have boundaries set up for them, okay? Number two, model what you teach. Yes, model what you teach, because one thing about us, we want to say, you need to practice what you preach, basically. We want to tell them don't do this and don't do that, and they see us doing it. You want to tell them not to lie, but they hear you lying on the phone. You want to tell them not to lie, but you lying over the phone. You want to tell them not to drink and smoke, and you drinking and smoking. You want to be an example of the things that you talking to them about. Don't talk to them about certain things and then you are not living what you are telling them. Are you modeling yourself out that you telling them to, okay, well, you need to be disciplined? Are you disciplined? Are you doing all the things that you're preaching? Are you being a model of that where they can see and not only hear you just talk about it? Number three, be present and engage. See, we think that a lot of the times we only think that it's about money. And absolutely, is money one of the key factors? Absolutely. It's providing and making sure that your kids are okay? Yes. But sometimes we put work in front of being present and spending time with our children. A lot of us stay in the house with our child and don't even know what our child like. You don't know your child's favorite color, what they like to eat. You don't even know what they looking at on their phone or going through. I'm not going to say that you know everything, but you should know enough about your child. You should know enough about your children. Some of us don't know that. We just want to provide them what they ask us for and go about our life and make sure that they have what they need. But with doing that, they need other things too. They need you to be there. They want somebody to actually care. They want to feel like you care about them, that you are just into them about different things like you are into your job or any of the hobbies that you have. They need that. They want that. They want you to be there. They want you to be at the games. They want you to be at their recitals. They want you to be they want you to be front and center. They want you to be their biggest cheerleader in whatever that they doing. They might not say they want you there, but they do. They do. Number 4, have the hard conversation. Your kids to get to a certain age, talk to them about sex, money, faith, mental health. Don't wait till the world teach them what's wrong. Yeah, have those conversations with them. A lot of the conversations are tough. to go and talk to your child about sex. Talk to your child about STDs, AIDS. Talk to them about consequences of sleeping with somebody and this person turn out to be a deadbeat. It could be men and women. Somebody can run off and leave you emotionally scarred, and you got a child to raise by yourself. Or you not being wise with your money, you can end up homeless. You can end up living on the streets by yourself. You can end up in jail. Getting around the wrong folks, not trusting God, not having the faith, getting around the wrong people, the wrong crowd, going down the wrong road, and you lose so many years of your life by being around the wrong people. You'll lose 5, 10, maybe 20 years of your life. Then when you start to turn things around, you older and you turning things around and you realize how many years of your life you lost doing foolish stuff, being around the wrong people, not being rooted in God. You see? Number 5, pray over and with your children. A lot of us are surviving off our grandparents, our parent prayers that they pray for their grandkids, their great grandkids. And it's time for us to make sure that we pray for our children, our grandchildren, and all the generations to come under us. Praying with them, letting them see you pray. That it's no time like now to make sure that you praying over your children and make sure the world that they going into that you praying over and make sure that they covered. Praying over your family. Make sure your children know how to pray. That's just me. You don't have to take my advice or whatever. You can do with it what you want to do with it. I just want to let y'all parents know you're not being too hard on your child. You're doing everything that you need to do. Just because you don't fit in with society's norm don't mean that you're not doing and you're not making the right decision. Sometimes as parents, we can be like, man, I wonder if I did this right. I wonder if I did that right. I wonder if I could have did this better, could have did that better. Listen, we can do what we need to do what we have to do, what we think that is important, what we think that is the right thing to do, and we can just keep pushing, and keep improving on it. But don't fall into being your child friend too soon. That comes later in life. Appreciate y'all tuning in.